Diese Konferenz wird nun aufgezeichnet.
Perfect. So recording is up and running. So again, welcome everyone to our first call when it comes to the European continent, the OCP European Workstream conference call. A quick update, and I've shared this also in an email just prior to our call today. This is the agenda for our first call. So let's a big introduction. I think we are at the moment not as many participants as expected, so we can even have a round. But yeah, a quick introduction here of David and myself, and also, of course, at the same time, also the purpose and the objective of our European call when it comes to OCP. Rolf, he is one of the presenters today. So many thanks for joining us today, Rolf, and for providing an update on the immersion cooling workstream today. So each presenter, we said in the beginning when we discussed this, 10-15 minutes. So after Rolf's presentation, I would like to ask Christoph to also provide an insight, really what his data center sites located in Germany, the scale-up technology GmbH data center sites are really why they're focusing on OCP technology and OCP gear here in Germany. And then last but not least, David will also share an update what's really happening on the MDC, the Modular Data Center OCP community. And I could also see that Karl Rabe, who is currently also the co-leading that group, is also joining. Then possibly also Karl will be in a position to add some comments here. Of course, we have, let's say, we have allocated some time, approximately also 10 minutes, 10-15 minutes for Q&A. All right, so let me go to the next slide here. Objectives. So basically, yeah, these are the objectives of our why we initiated. And again, many thanks to the OCP team. OCP team really around the guys in the US, yeah, supporting us on this initiative. We have really kicked off after the regional summit in Prague. We said, hey, there is no really dedicated call focusing on Europe when it comes to OCP. So that's why we have this call today, eventually. So yeah, again, these are what we would try to cover here together with you guys on a regular basis every second Tuesday. And we have deliberately chosen 11 o'clock in the morning that we have a European call. And then at the same time, we also said, yeah, we will be in a position to share the recording so everyone on a global scale can also have a look what we're discussing here in Europe. So these are some of the objectives. So we would like to really see jointly what is really available when it comes to OCP components in Europe. Yeah, how can we also increase the support on OCP equipment here in the European continent? And you're all fully aware, and we're also getting this as a feedback from participants within the market. Support from other suppliers is better. Yeah. So if you name them, let's say the Dells, the HPE guys, if you buy and I get this directly feedback from data center providers, other stakeholders. The support from these kind of companies is excellent. So this is something we need to really look into and see how can we improve this, this area, which is for many also future clients an issue, really open and transparent here. At the same time, what is also important, what we're also trying here, and you all guys are volunteers in various work groups, and it's very much appreciated, but of course, which is helping us convincing people, hey, have you really thought about running your data center as a cloud native data center on open source hardware and software? It's what is helping us are really live deployments. People can really have a look at and really touch and feel it's working. And there are some available, and possibly we can also work together and have something like a map if this is not already existing. So or maybe we need to, if there is a map, we can also then adjust it and have it as an open source document. So on a regular basis updates this, that people are really aware where they can have a look. Some really in live in a live deployment, and they can have really the OCP experience. Okay. And then what we're already doing today is in each call, we will ask really those leaders of these voluntary OCP subgroups to do a quick update. Yeah, we are fortunate. We have three already today as an initial meeting. Let's see how if we can continue this, and also if this will also fit with our timing here. Yeah, that we have also maybe also other regions joining at our local time here. Yeah. And of course, what is also a big thing we would like to discuss here together with me and see the obstacles. Yeah, why is the OCP adoption at this level as we experience today? Some countries are more advanced. Yeah, if I look at Germany, we are a bit conservative. We always wait and see, and we need to have all these documented processes. I think Christoph is really someone is taking really is an innovative guy and taking some risks. Some are more conservative, and it's a lot of work and also a lot of discussion need to have with these guys. But what are the obstacles convincing people to do the shift? Yeah. So I've done a lot of talking now. So I would like to, if so, further comments from you guys on these objectives you can see on the slide here.
My comment is that what I hear from the customers that there is a real requirement of some place where they can collaborate, talk, especially about Europe. Many such requests was from the customers, because in the real world, OCP is mainly driven by hyperscalers, and in Europe it's a little bit another approach, smaller data centers, and this is why we need such place where we can collaborate and share the experience, ask the questions, understand how to move forward together.
Perfect. Thank you, David. All right. So if no further comments in regards to these objectives you can see here on the slide, let me unshare my screen and give the floor to Rolf. So keeping my fingers crossed, let me click on here. So I unshared my screen and I need to now look for Rolf here in the participants list. And I give you the moderator role. Hopefully, okay, this is working out smoothly as I'm trying to do this now.
And that works.
Very good.
Congratulations. You did it.
I'm happy about that. All yours.
All right, great. All right, so yeah, as per request, happy to do an intro of the Immersion Project in this first European call. I'm eager to see this call grow and rise to the occasion when it comes to the European market. Just for now, a quick inside look in what the Immersion Project is and where it's coming from. So, as a starter, I'm just gonna do a quick technology introduction. I know that most people are aware of immersion, but not everybody is aware of all the variations that we're dealing with within immersion. And to get into that, there's a couple of things I want to highlight. First of all, when it comes to immersion cooling versus liquid cooling in general, liquid cooling is a more generalized term, and it's just the practice of using liquids to extract heat from components in a way that you don't need to use air as an intermediate medium. Immersion cooling involves the most extreme form of liquid cooling, which is the full submersion of IT equipment in a dielectric fluid. A dielectric, so that it's a dielectric fluid because it's thermally conductive, but also electrically insulating, thus preventing any kind of short outs due to it being immersed in fluid. So the fluid is directly in touch with all the components on the motherboard, from all the chips, and all the heat is directly absorbed from the equipment. One of the biggest advantages of this is that there is no loss to an air environment while the IT equipment is immersed, because the heat only has one place to go. There is no other way to go than into the fluid. Any further efficiency is in the transfer of heat from the fluid to whatever rejection system there is. Within the immersion, this immersion category, there are a bunch of different flavors. The most notable difference is, or separation is, between single and two-phase. And the term phase here refers to the principle of phase change or evaporation of a material. With single phase, the type of fluids that are used as a dielectric medium and as a fluid is a fluid that doesn't evaporate easily. That's a single phase. That's something we call low volatile, which means it doesn't evaporate at low temperatures, and it requires a circulation of the fluid through the IT equipment and eventually a heat exchanger to a facility water system to facilitate the thermal rejection from the IT all the way to a cooling installation, which is typically outside of a facility or in a reuse scenario. Circulation methods, there are different ways and different types of immersion systems based on single phase. Basically, the circulation method can be driven by either pumps or by natural convection, depending on the vendor or the technology that you're working with. Two-phase fluids, or two-phase immersion, involves a very high volatile fluid type. And volatility here is not a negative term, but it refers to the fact that the fluid can boil at a very low point. So you get a phase change of the fluid from liquid into gas, which is the driving force behind the efficiency of two-phase solutions. The evaporation itself absorbs an incredible amount of energy from a component that is causing the heating of the fluid. The evaporated fluid is then reverted back to a liquid. So the gas is returned into a liquid state by a condenser, which is positioned typically above the fluid, so that the fluids flow back into so that the condensate flows back into the tank. So this means that with two-phase solutions, you also have a natural cycle. You don't need to utilize any pumps because the circulation is driven by natural effects. Then there's also different types of implementations. We have open bath systems, which are tank-style systems, and the term open here doesn't refer to a lid. It means that there is an open-to-air interface of the fluid. That means that there is a layer of air on top of the fluid, and also with an open bath. The term bath here refers to the fact that it's a shared environment for multiple items for multiple pieces of IT equipment. So the multiple pieces of IT equipment share the same fluid body. Then we also have enclosed chassis types of immersion. This is also referred to as clamshell. And these are typically sealed chassis containing either a single or sometimes two pieces of IT equipment, but the equipment is sealed at a chassis level. And the chassis contains fluid with some solutions that may be partially filled with fluid, other solutions that are fully filled with fluid. And the circulation type can be either by phase change, or it can be by pumps that are circulating the fluid inside the chassis. Whether it's the fluid also leaves the chassis or not depends on the implementation or the vendor or the technology being implemented. We're also keeping our eyes open for hybrid systems, where you may have an open bath type system which fits into a rack. These are systems that we don't typically see a lot. There's a few vendors that are starting to do this, but we do keep our eyes open for such a category. So combining these flavors, sorry, it results in an incredible variety of technologies out there, which all share the denominator that they're immersion technologies. A couple of examples here of immersion technologies in different shapes, different sizes. On the left side, there's some two-phase solutions. Then you see two different types of chassis-based solutions in closed chassis environments. On the top right and top bottom, you have mechanically circulated single phase as well as natural convection single phase. And this is not all. There is plenty more of these in the ecosystem. So why is this such a topic of interest within OCP, within the industry? Immersion has a tremendous amount of advantages when it comes to deployment. Typically, with immersion technology, you can utilize much higher temperatures to run the IT equipment in. That is because the fluid is so much more effective in terms of absorbing heat from hot components. This means that you typically don't need to have any air cooling installations or minimal air cooling installations, and you can typically operate without relying on very inefficient or power hungry chiller systems. You need a lot less overall installations for displacing coolants. With air cooling, you need to move a lot of air around the facility. With fluid, that saves you a lot of energy and a lot of work to displace fluid. Fluid displacement is incredibly efficient, and it's something that every household has in some way already. So it's a very efficient means of cooling your facility. Overall, we're looking at in general, there's tremendous power savings. Also, because you can run with more IT equipment, you can save power on your cooling installation, but also on the IT equipment itself. There's power savings simply because there's no more need for fans within the IT equipment, and this saves power on the IT side of the equation. Now, a lot of us are used to POE figures. Immersion, besides facilitating overall efficiency for the facility, it also saves power on the IT equipment, which is on the one side of the equation. So overall, statistics have shown that there's an incredible potential for cost saving, both on capex and opex, and therefore very high TCO returns. So enough about the context of what immersion is and why it's of interest. Within the overcompute environment, the Immersion Project is aimed at driving a global transition to support a global transition. Hang on, I just need to push something off my screen. Yeah. So data center operators are experts in availability and uptime, and the last thing they will do is to take risks with conflicting information or incredible marketing pitches. Any technology which is allowed into a facility is normally subject to a good amount of scrutiny, and if there is any doubts raised or any confusion in the industry, it will not only affect a single brand but its entire technology domain. And this is something that we need to make sure that we prevent or that we streamline. The industry-wide collection of data and sharing of data is very often difficult to do due to confidentiality, especially with the innovators risking everything to break across the chasm. And a wealth of information and knowledge becomes IP within such companies, which should be protected. But it also highlights a difficult balance for technologies to maintain. After all, if you're an operator, if you're a supplier in this domain, you need to be able to scale with your own technology, but you cannot do it if you have to be secretive about information that is required to evaluate these technologies. And a way to deal with that is to open the floodgates of information and allow the industry to grow as a whole. And this is exactly what we're doing within OCP. We are a cross-industry collaboration, and we are providing the industry with unbiased facts, and very often we include the data to back it up. And this is because the progress that we make is fully driven by the community and by the innovators and the hyperscale companies and end users, and it's very often more progressive than other industry platforms. And it's focused at the front of the wave. I've been proudly facilitating and guiding the global immersion community to where it stands today. And where it stands today is a pretty big deal. Currently, immersion is one of the biggest projects in OCP, if not the biggest. It's not because this is the biggest market out there, but it's something that is becoming a norm. We're not there today, but we're getting there. It's going to take a few more years before it's an industry standard, but there is a lot of work that needs to be done, simply because immersion changes the way of work and the way that we're dealing with the data center facilities. Right now, we are running about 10 different work streams. One of them is inactive at the moment, but we also have a monthly calls, community calls. I'm going to touch upon some of these work streams, but every work stream that we're supporting in the Immersion Project is aimed at facilitating the industry transition. We're covering obstacles or hurdles. We're resolving models, the way that deployment models or requirements, and we're investigating where we should put our focus for different workstream support. So right now we have a community that contains approximately 250 active participants, which is an incredible size. How do we actively support the industry? Is not just by running work streams. We also seek out very actively the reasons why you should not be dealing with immersion. And this may sound odd to hear. There's a good reason why we're doing this, because reasons why you should not do something are very good indicators of what potential hurdles are that we need to focus our attention to. If there is an obstacle, we need to identify it and we need to find a resolution. And that's how we work within the immersion community. David, who's managing this call, is also the workstream lead for the immersion hurdles group. So the way that it works, we actively identify hurdles and potential downsides to immersion. We start creating base collateral to identify the real issues. And we try to identify efforts or appropriate efforts to resolve such issues or hurdles, and then we put it into a charter for a potential new work stream. And that then becomes part of a work stream creation process, where we discuss these issues that have been identified or these challenges that have been identified. And we do a call for participation, for leadership, or for interest in the community. And if that all pans out, we actually set up this community, set up a work stream to directly address certain hurdles. The most recent work streams that have come out of this are the work groups focused on TCO modeling for immersion, warranty guidelines for immersed IT, and signal integrity. And these three work streams are well underway. They've been launched in January, and they're currently already well into the content generation phase, which is an incredible effort. Right now, we're looking at a new work stream to be kicked off soon, which is a product validation case study, which is going to be driven by Fomerica Optoelectronics, to help us map out the ecosystem on how companies can approach a certification effort into the market, and that will be done in a closed community, but it will come out, but the output will be fully open to the world to work with and to become to provide as a roadmap on how to get equipment certified. A lot of this information can be found on the wiki page. We have an updated wiki page on the Open Compute website, where you can find all the contributions that have come out of the immersion community. It also gives an outline of an immersion requirements qualification process. It provides an overview of all the work streams and also how to participate, and it also gives you access to all the calls and presentation materials, all the recordings, ever since the project has been kicked off. We have an intense call schedule. Every week there are various workstream calls. The overview can be found on the wiki as well. Every third Tuesday of the month, we have our global community call where we deal with either workstream updates or external content. We swap these on a monthly basis. And there's so just going to highlight a very few very quickly, because I'm already pressing for time now. A few items that are noteworthy. Some relatively recent publications that have come out is the material compatibility and immersion cooling, which is published by the fluids and materials workstream. We have a base specification for immersion fluids, which has been driven mostly by Intel and worked on together with the broader OCP community. And there is a publication for around warm liquid cooled cloud facilities driven by Microsoft. Currently, we are working on a glossary which contains harmonized terminology from various sources, from the Green Grid, ASHRAE, and various OCP publications. And this is something that is quite impressive, which has pretty much organically grown out of the TCO and warranties work streams, which is currently driven by Rich Lappenbush from Supermicro. And I'm helping him out to try and create this into an industry-wide glossary for liquid cooling technology. A quick mention of the fluids and materials community, where currently a bunch of additional focus groups have been created. So within the workstream, there is now a couple of focus groups which are trying to address a few high-value actions in combination with various other work streams as well, to get some content created in a relatively short time. And one is based on auto ignition temperature, which to identify achievable temperatures, which is going to be handled as an FMEA study, a failure mode and effects analysis study, which will be running on immersion technology as a general industry technology, to determine what potential temperatures can be achieved within immersion solutions, and provide a foundation for recommendations of critical fluid temperatures for fluid specifications. And this is also going to be used to feed back into IEC, International Standards Organization. Another quick highlight is power distribution in immersion as a work stream, which is led by Oriol and Kevin. And Kevin Garrow hasn't been officially announced yet, but he will be announced. So you guys have the scoop here. Kevin Garrow will be the new workstream lead for power distribution in immersion. He's replacing Harry Soin from AEI, who has now been assigned to become the project lead for Rack and Power. And this group is looking at appropriate means of distributing power within immersion tanks, just to give an example. And one of the current findings already is that there is a significant increase in power density that can be achieved by utilizing immersion for power delivery. We're looking at almost a doubling of what is possible in terms of power density within immersion, just on the delivery of power alone. And finally, last highlight I want to give is that there is the hurdles workstream is currently scoping out a wealth of other potential work streams. And here are a couple of topics that the hurdles group is looking at to evangelize as potential new work streams. Standard system operations to see if there is sufficient attention, sufficient demand in the community to work on that, fluid life cycle models, and various other items which are currently in progress in discussions within the hurdles calls. So last slide, July 18th will be the next Immersion community call. This month is a webinar month for the Immersion community. We are alternating the internal content and external content. So this month is the external content call, where we will have 2 sessions, one by Andy Young from Asperitas, highlighting the simulation approaches for design and optimization of heat sinks. And by Carl Rabe for the superconductive data center, which involves liquid cooling. So far, this update from the Immersion community. So back to you, Stefan.
Thank you very much, Rolf. So the 18th of July, a date to remember. So please try to really dial into this webinar. Again, many thanks for this great presentation, Rolf. It's appreciated. And of course, many thanks to the excellent work you and your team are really providing and contributing to the industry. As you mentioned, at the moment, immersion cooling in some countries is still a niche. It's still a niche, but of course, other regions or other countries are really scaling. So you are really helping to scale the business, which is appreciated. And what I like the best is your comment. The community is driving the innovation. I think you really said it at the beginning of your presentation, and I think this is one of the key messages. Really, it's all about the community. It's all about really sharing. Yeah. Talking about the level, and then I think we need to continue with Christoph as the next presenter. So we, as I say, David and myself, we looked and we really wanted to find out some live deployments in Germany of immersion cooling. So we talked to our friends within the industry, and at the moment, at this point of time, Wolf, there was none. So there is no live deployment in the German market so far. That was sorry, I was surprised.
It is not. It's not the reality. It is not true.
Okay, then
yeah.
Please.
When it comes to OCP, yeah, probably. But I'm familiar with at least 2 deployments myself in Germany, and I'm very certain that there are more.
You mean Immersion 2 deployments in Germany?
Yes.
Okay.
Great.
That's good.
But
so,
it's not with OCP equipment, but
It no matter. We're just looking for the Immersion in Germany.
Good news, Rolf. Let's try to have this offline, and then let's see where these deployments are located in the German market. Okay. All right. So time is running, and let me give the word to Christoph again. Christoph, I would like to give you the moderator role here. Okay, so you should be now, Christoph, in a position also to share your screen. Is it working?
Almost.
I'll try it again. Let me have a look again here. Christoph.
So I'm back, and now I can hopefully share.
Yes.
I think you have to give me the role again.
Okay, let me do it. Yeah, okay, on Christoph. Yeah,
there is
now it should
two Christoph
okay.
now.
Myself. I'm not sure, Christoph, why it's not working.
Just wait.
Can you share your screen now?
No, unfortunately not.
You press on the screen button and
Yeah, I can't press it. Now I can. Finally.
Sorry, sorry about this. Technical.
Finally. Okay.
right.
So, quick intro to who we are and what we do. So we are a managed hosting cloud and co-location provider here in Germany, and we have always been using open source software from the start for everything, basically everything. And since 2015, we've also been using OpenStack for a infrastructure as a service cloud offering. We're using some Kubernetes stuff, and our teams are located in Berlin and Hamburg, Germany, and we have 7 data center facilities across Germany, which we use in production. And as I said, a strong focus on open source and sustainability. Now, about 2 years ago, well, 2.5 maybe by now, we first heard about OCP. I haven't heard about it before that. And that got us thinking because, well, using open source software and combine that with open source hardware somehow made sense to us, or at least looked interesting. And at the same time, we did see some benefits in regards to energy efficiency around OCP gear. And so we decided on trying some of that OCP hardware in our facilities. Now, 2 years later, we've become a member of the OCP Foundation, and we are also now an OCP solution provider since the beginning of this year. And I wanted to quickly share with you what we do around OCP. So there's basically 2 offerings that we have around OCP. One being our public cloud infrastructure as a service offering. So it's basically our OpenStack based cloud, which is run here in Germany, and it's running on OCP hardware, both on the server side as well as on the network side. So it's essentially fully open from beginning to the end. The second offering that we are currently launching is a bare metal offering, where we offer, well, basically dedicated servers, bare metal servers, OCP based bare metal and dedicated servers. That project is going to be run in our Berlin data center facility. And while we have been using this OCP gear for our public services, we also discovered a lot of the things that you had on one of your first slides, that, well, it's hard to source OCP gear here in Europe, especially in Germany. There's hardly anyone offering support for OCP here, and it's also difficult to actually get your hands on OCP gear to even try it out. So what we did, well, we just bought some and did the trials ourselves. I mean, that's certainly possible. It's not always the easiest way, but that's what we did. And at the same time, while starting to use OCP in production, we also decided that since we firmly believe that OCP is, well, has many advantages over like traditional data center hardware designs, we decided that we actually want to become a supplier for OCP here in Europe, and especially in the German-speaking markets. So what we did is we set up some relationship with suppliers out of Asia where we can source server hardware, for example. We also have relations like on the power side with Murata in Japan, where we can source PowerShells, and many other relationship with suppliers. So what we are currently capable of doing is that we can offer OCP ready solutions to anyone interested in using OCP in their own data center environments within Europe. However, with a strong focus on the German-speaking regions here in Europe, and we also offer support for all those services. At the same time, we can also support POC and trial setups. We do have some gear in stock which we can offer, and at the same time, as we believe it should be easier to get your hands on OCP, we are also in the process of opening an OCP experience center here in Berlin, Germany. It should be officially opened by September. We're still performing the last steps to get everything ready, and when we are ready in September, we will open it up basically to the public. We have meeting rooms there. We have a small site within the data center where people can actually see OCP hardware in the data center, and they can also run POCs or trials within the data center environment if they want to. At the same time, we're also going to be offering some workshops around the year in order for people to get more familiar with OCP in general. And we will also open it up to other OCP community members. So anyone, any other OCP member around Europe who's interested in showing their products and services to others can use that experience center to showcase their solutions. At the same time, our goal is also to certify the data center facility to be OCP ready. That's still in process and should work out, since we use it for OCP already, so it should work out, right? And at the same time, there's also some expansion planning on the data center side. And for that expansion planning in this data center, we are considering some different approaches. So currently, all the data centers that we use are traditional data centers with raised floor and, well, equipped for air cooling. Now, with some of the expansion on this one data center site in Berlin, we're considering whether to actually take a few rooms or parts of the building which will be specifically designed for OCP, where we can essentially can get rid of raised flooring, where we can have space for immersion tanks and other things. So this is currently still in process, as the work has not been started on the building yet, but this is something that we are considering for the future. So basically, my message: anyone interested in OCP in Europe, feel free to reach out. We're happy to show and share our knowledge with anyone interested.
Great. Thank you very much, Christoph. It's appreciated. So I'm also really happy that you are planning to have this OCP Experience Center in Berlin at some point in September this year. So I would love to discuss with you, as for example, Dirk is keep on asking, can we do, let's say, also events in Germany, in the German-speaking market? So maybe at some point next year, we can maybe organize an OCP custom event at your site. So let maybe discuss this, and also involve then Dirk and team if they can support us there. And at the same time, I'm also happy, as you mentioned, what also keeps the market is telling us support is an issue, that you have fixed it yourself. You have all the connections, so you've done your your experience, trial and error. So you have the also supplier connections to Asia. So, and then you are actually, and I would like also the community here in Europe to reach out to you guys to really leverage from your experience. Yeah, so you can support them on OCP. You can also support them in terms of providing some suitable solutions. So that's why, of course, we're keeping this contact information a while here. So please reach out to Christoph and team if you would like to have a support in terms of deploying or let's say designing an OCP solution at your data center site throughout Europe. Of course, if it's someone from Germany, then it's also from the German-speaking market. That's even better. But of course, throughout Europe, you're happy to get in touch with Christoph and team. Right, Christoph? You're not complaining about this, right?
No.
Okay. We have still some time at the end to really ask some questions. So, let's move on. We have about 10 minutes left. So I would like to give the floor now to David. So let's give David the presenter role. Hopefully it's smoother than like I did with Christoph.
It's okay. It's working.
Perfect.
I want to touch the theme of this comprehensive approach of OCP, which cover everything, and servers and racks and power supply and cooling methods and modular data center and sustainability all together. So this is why me and Carl try to show how it's possible to bring all together, because usually when you are trying to implement liquid cooling, you are struggling between facility guys, IT guys, and software guys, because they have different aims and KPIs. But I want to show you our projects. So just before enroll presentation, you was introduced to cooling environments, where is immersion, cold plate, door heat exchanger, heat reuse, and another group of work streams is data center facility, where we can find modular data center. So this modular data center work stream is led by Brian Gries and Carl Rabe, who is here on the call, and I want to show you the details. So you can go to the wiki and find there all the information about schedule, about documents, approved specifications, how to get involved, and all the records from the post calls. So now I want to just show you the example of approved specification, which is 90 kilowatt standalone modular data center based on standard components, and you can find here a license to Schneider Electric. But the idea is that it is open source and anyone can implement that in their project and use OCP, not only OCP servers and rack, but also this open source design, in which you can find all the explanation and layouts, external, internal, how many racks you can put there. So based on that specification, we create new one based on liquid cooling with heat reuse. And this one I want to show you. So in difference from the air cooling, it's not covered on the facility design. It also covered the server design and rack design. And this is what I want to show you, how it looks. So this is the outdoor design. There is different calculation of PUE for different locations. And this is the rack system and server design. So we adopted OCP server for on-chip liquid cooling. And you can see also adaptation of the rack design. And here is the comparison. On the top is the 45 air-cooled servers in the rack, and in this one with liquid cooled we can have 72 low profile liquid cooled servers and 12 air cooled servers, so overall 84. So this is how we can increase the density of the rack, and overall it is the same one container, but in this container we have 12 OCP racks, higher in density, and overall we achieve 1000 servers in these 12 racks in comparison with previous case 250. And we have big air cooler which make possible to make heat reuse from air cooling part. And this is the different schemes of making heat reuse and cooling with without chiller and with chiller, and some information about the cooling technologies. So this is the driver which help to shift to new technologies, new liquid cooling. And the last slide which I want to show is the comparison in TCO for these two open source modular data center solution. Just a second. You see this slide? So here we compare for air-cooled data center and one liquid-cooled, and the quantity of the servers is the same, but the less quantity of the rack, less of the space, less IT load because the servers don't use the fans for CPU cooling, less total power input, it's been less the energy supply. And overall, we see that in 3 years, we have a reduction of 1.2 million euros for 1,000 servers. So this is the idea. This is how we achieve the savings. But to get know more, you can jump to our modular data center calls and be involved in that and make not only your contribution, but also get the knowledge. That is what I want to present, and maybe next time we can involve Carl and give opportunity to talk more about data center decarbonization through the wooden data centers and other interesting technologies which is discussed in modular data center workstream.
Perfect, David. So many thanks for this update and for these insights. It's really appreciated here from our side. And also a comment here from my side. David is the most knowledgeable engineer I'm aware of, and is an independent consultant. He's in a position to really design the liquid cooling solution and also a heat recovery solution, adding the most value to a customer. So it's not really restricted to a portfolio as certain suppliers do. He has a knowledge to really look at the pros and cons of various components and then design on that. And due to his knowledge of the market, the most applicable solution for customers, applicable for their various situations in their data center sites. I think, yeah, and if you have also to the audience, if you have a demand on this, please do not hesitate and reach out to David. Perfect. So
thanks, David.
Thanks very much. And again, thanks very much to all the participants for joining. I think during the call we have about 15 participants. So thanks very much. And of course, a big thanks to our presenters today. Many thanks for your time. It's appreciated. And on top of this, especially a big thank you to Rolf, as you haven't given me the opportunity in your last immersion cooling call to promote today's session. So again, thanks very much.
You're very welcome.
Thank you. Are there any questions now straight away based on the input you could hear and see today? Okay, obviously not. Oh, sorry.
Just Luca here from EKWB. I've been tracking OCP for last 2.5 years, and then I stopped a bit because mostly it was located in US and I'm located in Slovenia, so it's hard to follow.
Yeah.
And I'm really glad that now we have meetings actually intended for people in Europe. So I'll try to attend more often. Really glad this is happening.
Yeah, thanks, Luca, for your feedback.
It's very much appreciated, Luca. So hopefully I can also welcome you next time. The next call is again in the summer. It's the 8th of August, if I'm not fully mistaken. So hopefully everyone is joining again from today's call, and even more people. So also please try to promote this within your communities, that there's something happening now on a European scale. Yeah, and that's it from me at the moment. Again, many thanks for joining. I think there are no more questions. If you agree, I will stop the recording now and wish everyone a great week and a great summer, and talk to you hopefully at the 8th of August. All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.